All right, now, there is one more kind of problem, which I'm not going to go through the example. It's kind of your algebra skills. Sometimes some problems will give you all of the information, well, not all the information, but some problems will give you density and one other variable, and you'll have to find the other. And that's when it's going to require you to do a little algebra. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up a problem right now on the top of my head. Let's say that you're reading a word problem and it says that an object has a density. Ooh, let's say that you're talking about some kind of gas. And it says that the density of some kind of gas is really, really small. Let's say the density of the gas is 0.0062 grams per milliliter. So we have some kind of gas. Yeah, you're allowed to have small numbers like this. They don't have to be big, they can be small. And gases are really, they're not dense at all. And let's say that this happens to be in a container that holds, no, you know what? No, we're gonna go right for it. Let's say that this sample of gas they happen to know is 3.8 total grams. So for whatever reason, we know the density of a gas. We happen to have 3.8 grams of that gas. And they're going to ask you, well, how much space, how much volume is that gas going to hold up? How much big of a balloon or a container or a cylinder am I going to need to hold that gas? And so you're going to use algebra skills and plug in what you know. You're going to plug in for density. You're going to plug in 0.0062. You're going to plug in for mass, that 3.8. And you're going to leave V as your unknown, kind of like X in algebra. You got to solve for that. I'm going to do this example because this one's the hardest for students to do if I ask them to find the volume. So you have to get V by itself. And remember from algebra class, you're going to take V and you're going to multiply each side by V, because I need to get V out of the bottom of the fraction. So what I do to one side to get it out of the bottom of the fraction, which is what this, if I multiply by V, it gets it out of the bottom because this V and this V will cancel. But what I do to one side, if I multiply V on one side, I got to do the other side. Now I'm not done, because then I have V over here with this number. So I have to go and I'm going to rearrange this now, kind of like X with algebra class. I still want to get V by itself. Well, how do I do that? Well, I got to divide by that 0.0062. Now I have V by itself and I can find out what it is. And if I divide that, I get 612.9, and then it keeps on going. So 612 okay, and this would be in milliliters, but I'm not going to keep my number like that. I'm not going to keep my number. That's a ridiculous number. So again, I'm going to ask you to round this accordingly. Well, this has, it looks like a good amount of spots, but this only has 2 spots. I'm going to call the difference here. I don't want to keep this forever. I don't want 1,000,000 decimal spots, but I don't want to also just make this, I don't want to just make this equal to like 600, because that's too much rounding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this just 613. It's good enough. Now, it doesn't follow strictly what we call the rules of significant figures, which, again, I'm kind of glossing over. But be reasonable with your values when you give an answer. Okay? Don't go off the chain. We definitely don't want all the numbers from your calculator. Okay. All right? You're going to run into problems which are slightly different, and every problem has its little idiosyncrasy. So I'm not going to be able to cover everything here in every example. but you know, do with it what you can. Use your math skills, use your thinking skills, and you'll be good. Thanks.